Now let's look at how we can modify an existing list. I have our course listed in the console window, so let's work on modifying that. First, I'm going to use the square brackets for subsetting, and I'm going to put research and R in there, and this is what we get. We're able to change the one element within our course, the first element, by using the subset operator. Here I'm going to use the extract operator to change it back, and you see that works too. Here we're going to change a single element within a sublist. Remember that grading is a list within a list. So I'm going to access grading, then I'm going to access requirements within grading. That's right here in the first element of the grading list. And then I'm going to take the third element of that vector and change it from exam to final exam. We can add elements to a list. I'm going to create a named element in the list called instructor and assign my name to it. I'm going to create another named element called some students, and I'm going to have a list of student names. Now let's look. Here tacked on at the end of the list is the new instructor element with a single character string, and here is the new some students element that is a vector of character strings. We can delete list elements. Here I'm going to set instructor to null, and not only does it remove the name, it removed the entire element. Note that if we delete an element in the middle, then elements below assume a new order in the list. Take a look at this. Our course 5 is our grading list within the list. Let's get rid of the ID, the student IDs in the course. Notice student ID is gone, and notice now in our course 4 is the grading list within the list. It changed location from 5 to 4. You have to be careful that when you delete an element of the list, any references that you used to make to elements below that in the list now have to be changed. They now become earlier references. We can merge lists. Let's create a list called course info. So this list is going to have a semester from spring 2019. It's going to have credits, prerequisites. It's going to indicate that variable credit is false. Let's go ahead and look at course info first. There's the list. Now let's combine the our course list and the course info list. And everything got combined. Two lists were merged into one list. You can do assignment through subsetting operators or extracting operators to existing elements and also to add elements. You can delete elements by assigning null, and you can merge with the concatenate function. There are many, many, many list functions in Base R and many, many, many more if we then install packages. But let's take a look at a few of the most used list functions. We can convert a list to a vector. Now remember that vectors are atomic. So if you have different types of data in your list, you will have implicit coercion to other types. Let's onlist our course and put it in course vector and look at what we have. It's a bit of a mess. We have our title, EDRM 718. Notice that the days became named days 1 and days 2. The activities became named activities 1, activities 2, and so on all the way through this. But importantly, look at what each actual element of the list is. It's a character. Everything is a character. Why? Because in order to be able to coerce these all to the same type, they all had to become characters. You can't coerce characters to something else, but everything else can be coerced to a character. We can view the structure of a list with the str or structure function. So here's the structure of our original list. We see it has 9 elements in it. The title is a character. We can see under here grading is another list of 2 elements, which itself has characters and numbers, and so on, all the way down to variable credit being a logical. Data frames can be split into lists with the split function. R has quite a few data sets built in. The creators of R must have realized that statistics teachers would appreciate this, and indeed I do. We can see the directory of data sets. Try typing this into the console. Data with the parentheses as a function. That provides for us a list of data sets. For any of these data sets, you could actually type them in the Help tab search function and get information on those. Alternatively, we could type question mark and the name of the data set and get information in the help window. I'm going to use the MT cars data set. Let's view this. So you can see we have miles per gallon, we have cylinders, engine displacement, which just means the size of the engine, horsepower, and so on, all the way across, including a number of things that I'm not even sure what they are. And then we have, for our units of analysis, the different types of cars. With the split function, we can split a data frame into multiple data frames that we then store in a list. So let's split MT cars by the number of cylinders in the engine. Let's look at the structure now of the car data. Notice that the structure of the car data is that everything here is split by the number of cylinders. We have a data frame up here for 4 cylinders that has 11 observations of 11 variables. Later on, for 6 cylinders, we have a data frame that has 7 observations, that is 7 cars, still with 11 variables, the same 11 that were in our original data set. And then down here we have 8 cylinders, a data frame with 14 observations of 11 variables. Suppose that I want to look at now the car data for just 6 cylinders. This is a little bit strange, but watch this. If I pick 6, and it shows me a little data frame icon, a little spreadsheet icon to say it's a spreadsheet. If I pick 6 and hit enter, I get an error message. Why is that? Let's look at the attributes of car data. The names are characters. So I don't know why it works that way, why here if you pick one of these items it doesn't work. But if I replace that with the character vector, it works. There's a great lesson there, and the lesson is this. You can use class to see class of objects and attributes and type of to help you debug and solve problems and understand why something's not working the way that you thought it should. That's what I just illustrated right here. All right, finally, the lapply function lets us apply a function to elements of a list. So let's see how this works. We have this car data that has these 3 different data frames in it. And I would like to get the mean miles per gallon for 4, 6, and 8 cylinder cars. So what I do is put in the name of the list first. The lapply means list apply. So I put in the name of the list. Then I put in this little command function x, and then I tell what function I want. Mean, where x is a placeholder. So this says x $ miles per gallon. So what this is saying is that I want to take a function for my car data, and I want to use the lapply, that is, go across each of the different elements. 4, 6, and 8 are the different elements of car data. Each element of the list, which we'll call x generically, and I want to get the mean of that element using the extraction operator to get miles per gallon. Let's see what we get. Here's the miles per gallon for 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, and 8-cylinder. Now we had to use that format because we can't take the mean of every element in our list because there were character vectors in our list. If we're using a function that can be applied to every element in the list, then you wouldn't need to use this function command. I know I can get the attributes of every element in the list, so let's do car data attributes. And now you can see I can get the attributes up here for 4, I can get the attributes for 6 and for 8, and it does it for every single variable in my list. For every single element of that list, it's giving me the attributes, row names, class, and names. You can convert a list to a vector with the onList function. You can view the structure of a list with the str, the structure function. You can split data frames and store them in list with the split function. And you can apply a function to a list with the lapply function.